Energy systems. The energy systems will work together to replenish ATP. The three energy systems are ATP-PC, aerobic glycolysis or lactic acid system, and the aerobic system. The energy systems all work together at the same time to keep replenishing ATP. At no point will only one energy system be used, but there is often a main system. The main energy system used during exercise will depend on the intensity and duration of the activity. ATP-PC system is predominantly used during a maximum intensity activities lasting no longer than 10 seconds. The lactic acid system is predominantly used for high intensity activities lasting approximately 1 minute. Aerobic system is predominantly used during medium to low intensity activity. The predominant energy system being used at rest is the aerobic system. The main energy system used during exercise will depend on the intensity and duration of the activity and the individual's level of fitness. Role of ATP. ATP is a key element in the role of replenishing energy in the body. ATP is made up of one adenosine molecule and 3 phosphate molecules. ATP must be replenished or resynthesized. ATP's main role is to provide energy from the working muscles. ATP is responsible for pulling back the myosin head ready for another cycle. When it binds to the myosin head, it causes the cross-bridge between actin and myosin to detach. The ATP can be broken up by an enzyme called ATPase. This will make the bond split and release one of the phosphate ions and make ADP or adenosine diphosphate. This is very short duration, around 3 seconds, where it will be at a high intensity. An advantage for ATP is that it can be found easily since it is widely available in the muscles. However, it is only for a very short duration, around 3 seconds. After that, the PC energy system would take over. There are 3 different ways of resynthesizing ATP: ATP-PC, aerobic glycolytic system, and the aerobic system. I'll go into more depth into those 2 different ways of resynthesizing ATP on the other slides that are designated towards those sections. Phosphocreatine, or PC, is similar to ATP in the fact that it is stored in the muscle cells. When this is broken down, a large amount of energy is released. The energy released is coupled to the energy requirement necessary for the resynthesis of ATP. The total muscular stores of both ATP and PC are small, meaning that the amount of energy obtainable through this system is limited. The phosphate stored in the working muscles is typically used in around 7 seconds of maximal activity. However, the usefulness of ATP-PC lies in the readily availability of energy rather than the sheer amount of it. PC is broken down by an enzyme called creatine kinase. This creates creatine and phosphate. The phosphate that is broken off in the process can be resynthesized back onto the ADP to make it ATP. This newly formed ATP can be broken down to release energy to fuel activity. The store for PC is very available, but it only lasts for a short amount of time. However, it takes about 2 minutes of rest to fully replenish the store of ATP-PC. The anaerobic glycolytic system, or the lactic acid system, is a system that, after the store of ATP and PC have been used up, this system will take over and allow the ATP-PC system to replenish their store. The lactic acid system produces a lot of power, but not quite as much or as quickly as the ATP-PC system does. However, it has a larger fuel supply and doesn't burn all of its fuel as quickly as the ATP initially stored glycogen. And that glycogen is then converted into glucose. Glucose is then broken down by 2 enzymes called PFK, or phosphofructokinase, and one is called DLDH, or lactate dehydrogenase. ATP are used to fuel glycolysis, and 4 are created, so the body has a net gain of 2 ATP to use for muscular contraction. The breakdown of glucose to synthesize ATP results in the creation of a substance called pyruvate and hydrogen ions. The acidity of the muscles increases as more hydrogens are created. During low-intensity exercise, blood lactate levels will remain at near resting levels because as you produce lactate, the body will just get rid of it. As the exercise intensity increases, there comes a breakpoint where blood lactate levels will start to rise. The term accumulation is then used for this build-up. As exercise intensity increases, this is often referred to as the lactate threshold. If exercise intensity continues to increase, a second, or often a more obvious increase in lactate accumulation is seen. This is referred to as the lactate turn point. Blood lactate is very interesting investigation as it shows how blood lactate can be very low, around 1 to 2 millimoles. This would be when the ATP-PC system would be in use. Both of the graphs, figure 2 and figure 4, show the blood lactate level jumping from 1.5 millimoles to 21.8 millimoles on the Wingate. This is the same for the multi-stage fitness test, as even though it started off quite high, 6.68 millimoles to 21.4 millimoles, this is interesting as the Wingate produced more blood lactate than the multi-stage fitness test. And the Wingate only lasted for 20 seconds, whereas the multi-stage fitness test lasted for around 15 minutes, which shows how intense the Wingate actually is. In football, there are many times where an energy system will be used. This is called the interplay of energy systems. ATP is a key element in the role of replenishing energy in the body. ATP is made up of 1 adenosine molecule and 3 phosphate molecules. ATP must be replenished or resynthesized. ATP's main role is providing energy from the working muscles. ATP is responsible for pulling back the myosin head ready for another cycle. In football, many different energy systems will be used in different activities. For example, the ATP-PC system will be used for maximal contractions such as a jump or an overhead kick, like something pictured on the PowerPoint right now. However, when you would use the lactic acid system is when there will be a short burst of running for about 15 to about 35 seconds. That is when you'd be using the lactic acid system, because you would have used up your ATP-PC system already during that sprint, so that is when that will become into play. But the aerobic system would be the main predominant one in football, since there is a lot of slow running around. And not much high intensity running. That is neuromuscular system, Alex Lees.